Stan Hanel here. This morning we're talking lithium, and who thought we'd ever get so much interest in such a fine mineral as lithium? I want to remind everybody that the largest community solar project in the world is being showcased this Thursday. Is that this Thursday now?
It is.
This Thursday, and we've got a bus leaving the Valley Electric offices down by 215 and Sunset, and you can go on the website greenalliancenv.org and get all the information you need on that. The bus is almost full, so it's going to be a big deal. We're going to have legislators, politicians, news, media, not to mention a good time on the bus ride on the way up. So get online, join up with this. There's only like 8 seats left, so be the first one to get there and save a seat for me. Anything else we need for announcements in that?
The cost, I think.
Yeah, the cost is $30, but we feed you through the tour. But what I would like to add is the community solar project that Valley Electric Association is the largest in the United States. It's here in the state of Nevada. And last session during legislation, the community solar bill was actually passed by both Assembly and Senate, and then it was vetoed by our governor. And so this event is definitely an educational experience so that we can understand what is a community solar project. Around the world, globally, these community solar projects are actually becoming more and more utilized to be able to provide clean energy to communities. So definitely come join us. It's going to be very, very education experience by those that actually build it. So
yeah, and that was designed by Assemblyman Chris Brooks, who worked as a business development manager at VEA before he ran for Assembly office and worked on the bills. I actually talked with him, and it was neat work that he was doing. So there's what he mentioned is that bill, even though it was vetoed, will come to the top of the queue in 2019 legislative session. So we'll revisit
that's what we're
it then.
expecting. Yep.
It's bound to get passed, and this is a good way to see the benefit that brings to the table. Back to lithium and lithium batteries, and I want people to know about NEVA, Nevada Electric Vehicle Association. You've got a website, right, Stan?
Yeah, nevadaeva.org, and as we talked about on our last show last week, we were actually a task force that was started in February 2011 to try and prepare the state for the benefits of electric cars, including infrastructure. But the side benefit that we're finding is for the mining industry of lithium here in the state. So there have been a lot of small startup companies. The one I got involved with when I was doing some of the conference was actually a company called Pure Energy Minerals. And so they staked out a claim just south, or just right near the Silver Peak mine, and they actually contacted a guy. There used to be a resort up there. There was a hot springs resort, and back in the 30s, people like W.C. Fields and Al Jolson would come fly their planes out, and they'd hang out in this resort. It had hot springs, and there's still the existing pool, the bubbling hot springs coming up from the ground is there. So they wound up getting with the owner and licensing the mineral rights to develop their own lithium mine there. So it's called Pure Energy Minerals. They also signed a contingent contract with Tesla that if they can develop and harvest it at a reasonable price, they'll buy all they can build.
So how does this demand for lithium affect Nevada?
So basically, you do have these startup companies. What's these small, they call junior miner companies. A lot of them are coming out of Canada, and we have that tradition in the state. Barrick Mines was a Canadian company originally, and so if you wanted to buy into a company or invest in like Pure Energy Minerals, they're on the in the Canada over-the-counter markets up there. 45 cents a share. So you can do
Seriously?
that. Yeah, there's Nemaska Lithium. Standard Lithium is a new one. Actually, the president and CEO of the Pure Energy Minerals brought in some more skilled people to run that operation, and then went off and started Standard Lithium. They have another mine developing up in California, just across the border from Prim and kind of south. It's also using brine harvesting to try and basically mine lithium that way. So there's a lot of this activity going around, people staking claims. So the Clayton Valley is very productive. That's basically that whole region around Silver Peak Mine. There's also Fish Lake Valley, and there's other, and then if you want to get into clay-based lithium up north in Humboldt County, there's a ton of it up there. It's just more costly to get that out of the ground. So that's Western Lithium was trying to develop that up there in the northern part of the state.
And this sample is the clay-based, correct?
Yes, that's like a clay-based or
that you brought in here to the studio. That's awesome.
You can see all the little white specks that are kind of, and a little bit of, actually a little bit of spodumene in there too. So it's kind of a neat little look at the hard rock version of it.
Did you mine this yourself?
Yeah.
No, actually, Pure Energy Minerals gave it to me. I went on a tour with them, and I got to see the Silver Peak, actually the ponds, the evaporation ponds. If you do a Google Earth on Silver Peak, Nevada, you use Google Earth, you'll see all these little blue and turquoise ponds that are the evaporation ponds for the lithium at that point, where they build up the density of the lithium.
And so for the investors out there, can we invest in this growing commodity? What are some of the companies you mentioned?
So it is a commodity, but there's no exchange for it. So when people buy lithium, they have to buy it by the ton, and then it's usually spot market. It's one buyer, one seller get together, and they just do a transaction. But you can invest in these little startup companies, and as I said, most of them are in Canada. So for some reason, we don't really have a lot out here. Except Western Lithium was a startup that came out of the UNR School of Mines, but they've had some struggles with trying to get that clay out there. They were kind of early on; they were a little premature, and they put a lot of money in early on, and the market became very slow to develop. So I'm not sure if they're still around at this time, but it's kind of a gamble. But if you're willing to take a shot to see if you can get in cheap on some of these investments, you might be able to
tell us about Albemarle.
So as I mentioned, the Silver Peak mine was originally started by the Foote Mineral Company in 1965. Ihor Kunis helped develop the brine mining process, but it was then sold to Chemitol. It became Chemitol Foote, and then that was sold to Rockwood Holdings, became Rockwood Lithium, and then Albemarle is basically a chemical engineering company that was building the cathodes for batteries and making lithium-ion battery components. And so they wanted to be vertically integrated, so they acquired the mine and the process to make it to have all three, to be able to do everything in one location. So now they are one of the largest lithium mines, not only in Nevada but in Chile. They have about 35% of the world's lithium supply right now.
Albemarle does. And you can buy them on the New York Stock Exchange.
Right. And then you have SQM and FMC, a well-known harvester of equipment, and then Tianqi Lithium in China. Those are the big five, I think, big 4 or 5 that are
been very
creating
interesting.
the market. Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, for all of you out there interested in these kind of things, be sure and go on the Green Alliance website. That's greenalliancenv.org. Keep up with our radio show. We've got a lot of great topics coming up. We've talked to a lot of great folks. Check out Nevada, NEVA, Nevada Electric Vehicle Association.org. Learn about electric vehicles. And, of course, you can go on shadesofgreen.com and pick up all the past recordings and listen to my lovely voice and all the voices of our guests and learn all the great things we've learned. And please join Green Alliance and become a member. It's a great organization. I'm Paul Ira, your host on Shades of Green, and we'll talk to you next week. Keep it green out there.